So first, let's start with some of the simple, usual phrases that probably you know, right? Like we say please and we say thank you. I think you know those words and those phrases. But sometimes it's difficult when we need to use more complex or more difficult phrases. So, for example, we have a phrase, would you mind? Would you mind? Right? This is also another polite question that we can ask. And we'll talk about more. We'll talk about these phrases a little more in a minute. So, would you mind? We can also say, would you be able to? Would you be able to? We could say, would it be possible to? For example, these are all some polite phrases, right? And then we also can just remember some general words that are polite, like we can say like could and can, right? We have could, can, would. So which of these words are more polite? How do we know? Well, in general, there's a rule that we want to remember, that there's two types of questions or phrases that we might say in general. There's direct and indirect. Direct and indirect. Direct means that we say exactly what we want. And indirect means that we say a lot of extra words, a lot of other words to try to say what we want. Right? Usually we think about it like this. Like if we say he is a very direct person, then this means that he says what he thinks and he doesn't say extra words, right? Just exactly what he wants or thinks. If we say he's very indirect, this means sometimes it's difficult to understand what he wants to say, and he doesn't always say exactly what he wants or what he thinks. So when we talk about a person, that's what it means. But if we're talking about questions or sentences, when we say that something is indirect in English, usually it means that we use a phrase like this. There's a lot of other words. So for example, I can ask you, where is the bank? Where is the bank? This is a direct question, right? This is a direct question. I say direct. Some other native speakers say direct. They're both correct. Direct or direct. So, where is the bank? This is a direct question. But if we want to ask an indirect question, we could say, could you tell me where the bank is? Could you tell me where the bank is? This is an indirect question because the real question here is, could you tell me? Right? This is the real question. Could you tell me? And then we say more information. Could you tell me what the temperature is? Could you tell me what your name is? Could you tell me where you are from, for example, right? So these are indirect questions. Just like these questions are indirect questions. Why do we have direct questions and indirect questions? Isn't this just confusing or strange? Why do we need this? Well, in English, indirect questions are more polite. They're nicer. It's polite. It's easier, kinder, nicer to ask an indirect question. Why? Because when we ask an indirect question, we give the other person a choice, an option, right? So if I say, could you tell me, this person has a choice. Yes, I will tell you, or no, I won't tell you, right? They have this choice, but I'm not demanding information. I'm not commanding this person. I'm not saying a command, right? Like if I say, tell me where the bank is. Tell me where the bank is. This is a command. Like in the military, right? Or like a boss tells his worker, tell me where the bank is. Or a police officer maybe tells you this. So this is a command, and this is not polite in English because now the other person doesn't have a choice. If you tell me where the bank is, if I say no, then we have a problem. Then there's a conflict. If I say yes, okay, then it's like you're my boss and I do what you tell me to do, right? So also there's some kind of problem. But when we say, where is the bank? Then this is a question. This is better than just a command, but it's not a very polite question. Again, it's like we are saying, give me this information. So when we ask an indirect question, could you tell me where the bank is? Then it gives the other person a choice to share this information or not. And if we ask an indirect question, we should not be upset if they say, no, I don't want to tell you. Or, we are the same. You're not, someone's not the boss, and, you're on the same level. So this is why English speakers use indirect questions and indirect language a lot. And probably when you speak to English speakers, it's probably people who you don't know, people who you don't have a long relationship with. So when you meet a new person, you are usually more polite. And probably English speakers speak like this with you because you're not friends yet, or you don't know each other very well. So it's correct to be more polite and to say more, to use more indirect language. But indirect language is a little difficult when we talk about grammar and when we talk about creating sentences. So let's look at this. Actually, let's finish talking about this first. So what's better? For example, would you tell me where the bank is? Or can you tell me where the bank is? Would you tell me where the bank is? Or can you tell me where the bank is? Or could you tell me where the bank is? So would, can, could. Okay, great. I see some answers in the chat. Could is the best. Could is the best answer. It's the most polite. Can is also okay and also polite, but could is more polite. And would, we usually don't say this. We don't say, would you tell me? Because this is a conditional phrase. We're waiting for if, right? Would you tell me if I paid you? Right? We need some condition, some situation. It would happen if. So we don't usually ask like this, right? Maybe I say, where's the bank? Oh, I don't know. Would you tell me if you knew? Yes, I would. Maybe in this situation. But instead, I should ask, could you tell me where the bank is? If I'm walking on the street in a new city and I don't know where anything is, and I see a stranger, a person who I don't know, a stranger, then I can say, could you tell me where the bank is? This will be the best, most polite question that I can ask.